Tip off.
Come on, won't you say it loud? Ayo, we gon' turn this out. Tom Clark's main event. Dropkick now and Powerbomb. Ayo, bro, let's bring this on. Hey, hey, why this up? Oh, captain, my captain, show the stuff. Power slammer, suplex 2. Hot garbage is just for you. Beat breaker, cut a cold red. Figure 4, hot times ahead. Since 2014, it's on. It's a 10 count, but stand up strong. Hey kid, no DQ, strong style. Chop, this is how it goes. Tom Clark's main event. Tom Clark's main event. Tom Clark's main event. Tom Clark's main event.
All right, how are we now, kids? Are we good? I got people in the chat telling me they can't hear me. So we may have to go edit that. What's up, kids? Welcome back to the program. This is my third start, actually. Technical difficulties abound. I'll have all this cleaned up on the audio version. You'll never know the difference. Trust me, you'll never know the difference. But in the meantime, welcome back to the show, kids. Episode 364 here, live and in living color. Happy Valentine's Day to you. I dressed up. I got a collar with a shirt on. I'm looking the part. I look good. I always look good. I always sound good. And I've got 3 guests lined up here today to celebrate Valentine's Day. Everybody brought candy. Hope you guys have been nice because we got those terrible little chalky hearts. Remember those things? I don't know what they're called. This sweetheart? I don't know what they're called. But anyway, look, we got lots of stuff to get here today. Apologize for the volume phase here. We've got a full cast of characters here on the show today. One of them trying to pop me with a dance during the song. It worked. It totally worked because he's doing it again. He's still trying to crack me up. So now that we're past the nonsense from the beginning of Tom and his audio issues, bad day to invite new people to watch the show, isn't it? That was a bad move. Do me a favor, kids, smash the like button while you're here. I'm going to ask you to do that a whole lot. And also, I had to switch. This is my mouse, by the way. Isn't that the coolest thing you've ever seen? It's Iron Man, and the eyes light up. Guess what happened 10 minutes before I sent my guest the link? Batteries go dead. Yeah. Well, look, it's okay because I have a wired mouse, so I'm back to the year 2000. My mouse is wired. So we just went 25 years back in time. It's okay. The DeLorean's fired up. It's sitting out in the parking lot. I just go back and forth, man. It's the Wayback Machine. What can I tell you? Let's get this party started. Let's get our folks on board here. Then we're going to dive into the comments. From Peaches and Powerbombs Tailgate Party, Marie and Ray are here from the Untitled Wrestling Podcast, Mr. Jay Luft. Woo! See there? Energy. I love it.
I was the surprise guest.
Jay done crashed the party.
That's okay.
I sent you a message about 10 minutes before you started saying, "Can I jump on?"
Yeah. He's like, so when you going live, are you going to do your show? And I'm like, I know what you mean.
I'm free. I've not been on the podcast for a while.
Hasn't been on the podcast for a while. And by the way, you also know Jay from Two Nations Under Ted Lasso Podcast. Believe it or not, Jay, during a work call, I plugged our show. I'm not kidding. During a work call. Absolutely. So there you go. The client we were talking to said, be a goldfish. I said, by the way, if you like Ted Lasso, I pitched him on it. And he knew it too. He knew the reference. So there you go, kids. Look, if you want to get on my good side, plug my shows. So look, we're going to put some comments up right here, but Ray has a hard out today. We're not going to make him wait all day here, folks. We got lots of stuff to talk about here today. most of these comments are, I can't hear him. Is it just me? So we're not putting those comments up. My apologies for that. Also from Untitled Wrestling Podcast, Miss Faye Divine is here.
Oh!
JP is here saying hello to Shane and Faye. Those guys talk to each other. It's very awesome. Now we're going to skip past the comments. JP says, love the heart candies. Let's see. Shane said Dollar Mart's making a fortune today. Oh, dude. I may have went out today. I may have went out today to get flowers. I may have done it today. Anyway. 88 miles an hour. I like that Back to the Future reference. Well, guys, how's everybody doing? Thanks for joining the show as always. We've been playing this for a bit. It's our first real crossover. We've got 4 different podcasts represented, 5 different. There's a lot of podcasts represented just between the 4 of us. So
yeah,
thank you guys for jumping on board. Let's talk about AEW Grand Slam. Let's go around the horn. Marie, are you looking forward to this event? I mean, I've got thoughts about how it's been booked and the promotion of it. What do you think as we're getting into this here today?
Yes and no. There's some things that I'm looking forward to, like Mariah May and Tony Storm. And then there's some things that are just kind of there. You know, it's AEW, and their booking week to week is not always the best, but their pay-per-view or their special shows, I guess you would say, this is not a pay-per-view, but it is a special show. They always deliver on those. So I'm going into it open-minded and optimistic.
I like the way you think. I appreciate your positivity. Ray, match her positivity. What do you got?
Whoa, that's tough. Compete with her. I think it's going to be really good. Like she said, and we always agree on our show too, the show doesn't flow with AEW sometimes. So sometimes it's just week to week, you're just guessing what's going on, who's feuding with who and why. But I am looking forward to Tony Storm. I'm really looking to see and feel the wrath of Holly Cameron.
Oh, I love Holly Cameron. Oh my God.
That's the highlight of my show, Holly Cameron.
Love Holly Cameron. Jay, we need more Holly Cameron in our lives.
Oh my gosh. Feel the wrath of Holly Cameron. I am very excited about Harley versus Mercedes. I think Mercedes is gonna make Harley look like a megastar in that match. And that's the objective. Tony and Mariah is gonna be incredible. We haven't mentioned Buddy and Okada, which, I mean, for me, that's like a dream match. Like, I know they've done it once in New Japan. Give these guys time; they're gonna steal a show. Even Mox and Claudio versus Jay White and Cope in the street fight, that'll be silly. It'll be really fun. Hopefully, it will plant the seed more for Jay White to dethrone Mox. That's what I want. Whether it happens, I don't know, but let's see.
Yeah, I agree. It's still weird seeing Jay White getting pop and making out like he's a good guy when everybody on this panel and everybody watching knows that he's going to bury that knife so deep in Cope's back, the blade's going to come right out the front of his chest. I'm just saying. I'm here for it. Jay White's a proper villain, and he should be a proper villain. That's his lot in life. It's what he's really good at. He was born to be a heel just as much as Roddy Piper was. So, yeah, I'm absolutely here for it. Well, let's dive into the card here, guys. And kids, if you will, as you're watching, please smash the like button. And if you will, share this show on your feed. I got 2 other podcasts, and I've shared it there. And if everybody else would do that on your own personal feeds, that would be great. So, kids, much thanks to you, and sorry for the technical issues starting out. At the very least, you got to see all of this. And so your Valentine's Day was set. Someone told me, I may have said on the show last week, well, look, she's already got me. What more does she want? Candy, flowers, pale in comparison to me. Before everybody starts laughing. Let's get to the card here. Let's kick off with Mercedes and Harley. Marie, let's start back with you. Go ahead. What do you got?
Well, I'm going to be honest, and I'm probably going to get booted off of this podcast, but
I'm ready with a button. You can go ahead.
I don't like it's not entertaining it's not my flavor of entertainment with the little puppet and all that kind of stuff. But I'm not saying she's not talented and that the match isn't going to be good. It's just not my thing. And I'm not saying she should be kicked out of wrestling forever like everybody else. So it is for somebody, but it's not my thing. So I don't really get it. But I'm not saying she's not talented. And, she's being herself. And that's always a good thing. So I think it's going to be great, the match itself. So I don't know who's going to win, though.
I appreciate your honesty.
That's up in the air.
Yeah, I appreciate your honesty. Here's what I'll say about Holly real quick. You guys remember when Candice Michelle, and she was the GoDaddy model, and all she did, remember she did that twirl? She just spun around in a circle. And after 3 months of the twirl, I said, I'm so over this. I cannot believe we're going to strip her half naked and have her do a twirl. I'm so over this. And then she learned how to work. And brother, let me tell you, after, you guys know, God, she got very good. And I was so impressed. I'm like, Candice is killing it, man. I became Candice's biggest fan after that. Like, there's the same Trish. Trish wanted to work. They didn't want to train her, as the story goes, supposedly. They just wanted her to be eye candy, for lack of a better word. She wanted to work. And, buddy, imagine if she didn't take that initiative, right? Look where we'd be. So, Ray, what do you think about Harley versus Mercedes here?
Again, feel the wrath. How do you not like this character? I'm with Team J on this. She's amazing. I love the puppet. If she had another puppet with different hair, I'd be with that. Like the two puppets talking to each other.
Oh my God.
I'm predicting the upset. I'm going full Holly Cameron here. I think she's going to some way, somehow win that belt.
Are you serious? You're predicting the upset.
I'm predicting the major upset. Wow. And it'll be a huge upset, but she's got so much momentum and she's getting over like crazy. Like, time to feel the wrath.
That's crazy. Shane says, remember when Paul Ellering had the puppet? We don't talk about that, Shane. We don't talk about that. I appreciate you. Jay, what do you think?
Feel the wrath of Harley Cameron. No, I think Mercedes wins, but one thing that we've not really mentioned is that Mercedes has been mentoring Harley. So I think Mercedes is going to make Harley look like a megastar in this match. Mercedes absolutely wins. In my mind, the only person who should be taking that belt off Mercedes is Athena. But I think Mercedes absolutely wins this. Harley comes out looking like a star.
I'm sorry. I've been trying to tell Tom through the thing, but
okay.
I'm having technical difficulties.
Let me take you off the stage. You're good, Marie. Do what you got to do. If you got to drop out and come back, no worries. There you go. Go ahead, Jay.
Yeah, I think Mercedes wins. Harley looks like a star in this match, and this is kind of like the whole making Harley look like a big deal.
Yeah, I agree. I'm a fan too. It took me a bit, but I'm absolutely a fan. And you know, you guys know this. There's so many talented people in that company that don't get a fair shake. That they can't even get on TV for whatever reason. So, you know, if you're going to get on TV in any pro wrestling company, you got to maximize your minutes. And I think she's doing that. I think she's more talented than maybe we even realize. Sandy in Germany, good to see you. Brianne's here. Fernando says, it's too much to ask that a talent's improving the ring before she is rewarded with the championship. I mean, Holly has improved.
I would say she has.
Tremendously improved.
I think, like, from her first match to now, every time we see her, she looks better.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree she might not be there as far as giving her a title shot, but also they're in Australia. She's good enough, and she's being mentored by the person she's wrestling, that they'll hide those kind of like discrepancies.
Yeah, covering up. Cover up deficiencies. That makes sense. So, well, look, I think Mercedes is going over too, But to Fernando's point, we often talk about talents getting built up to a moment and everything. And look, to his point, whoever beats Mercedes, it'll be somebody special. We talked last week about Cody and everything, and it's like, well, look, who's going to beat Cody? Better be somebody special. You don't throw away that change. Not for Cody Rhodes. I don't think you throw it away from Mercedes either. It's got to be somebody that's. I think it's the next person. And if they were to do it just because it's the flavor of the moment, probably not a good move. So
I still think Athena.
I think Athena might be the right choice. We'll see.
Athena is the most logical person for me.
Marie, we've got you back.
She's defending it Saturday, right? The ROH
title? She's defending the ROH title against Alex Windsor on Saturday. I think all in, Athena's from Texas. It's in Texas. Big name Texas wrestler wrestling Mercedes. Potentially dethroning her. Makes the most sense to me.
That's big.
That is huge.
Marie, we got you backstage. When you decide that you're okay, just give me a thumbs up. And we'll put you back on. I know what tech issues are. We all three do. Trust me. See, Robbie says, I applaud AEW for having special events like Battle of the Belts and Grand Slam for those of us who can't afford pay-per-views. I agree with that. As for females who were goofy before getting over with the crowd, there was a woman at NXT in its early years who just skipped around the ring until we got sick of her. And you're talking about the man. You're talking about Lynch, right? Lynch doing that stupid Irish dance and whatnot.
Look at Bailey. She was like just dancing around, and then she got over enough that she become like someone who should be women's champion.
Yep, she's a big hugger.
Yeah. I think with Harley, the thing is that they did that on Dynamite this week, the whole promo where she like kind of like stopped messing around and just went, I'm serious now. I respect Mercedes. Mercedes is the best women's wrestler in the world. I do not take this opportunity for granted. I'm going to give her my all. And I think even though I wouldn't say that is enough to kind of go, oh yeah, this now means it's serious. It's enough to kind of go, well, yeah, Harley realizes how important this match is.
I agree with that. I got to be honest with you, man. The longer we go with Mercedes, I think Athena's the only one left. Is there anyone left? It's
got to be.
Man, alive.
Yeah, I'm thinking. Yeah, there's really nobody left.
Yeah, because if Stat can't take it, and if
Stat could probably like third time around take it. Willow could in a rematch. Megan Bain, another good shout. But I think for me, Athena's like the one.
Yeah. Makes
She's
sense.
doing a Roman Reigns right now. She's undefeated. She hasn't lost that belt, and oh my god.
Billy Starks might be a good shout as well. To be fair,
the whole thing with it's so. I mean, look, can we be honest? If this Athena gimmick were on mainstream AEW Dynamite every week, I think it would have been shot full of holes by fans all over the planet. But because it's fairly hidden on Ring of Honor, this whole thing with Billy and she falls for it and she doesn't fall for it and she turns and she comes back and then she kicks the other one out. If this were mainstream weekly TV, people would be like, all right, that's enough. Let's move on. Do you know what I mean?
I'm gonna throw something out for you here, which might surprise you. Remember when Asuka was called up to main roster? And they made this big deal about her undefeated streak.
True.
And then she got to WrestleMania, and don't worry about that.
Yeah, no, don't worry about that.
But if they do it that way, where it's like Athena's not been beaten in like 2 years, and that's the crux. That's like, okay, Mercedes, you've had that belt for over a year. I've not been beaten in 2 years. Let's see who the best women's wrestler is. And and they do title versus title. Like that's really compelling for me.
I agree with that. Yeah, I agree with that. And I like everybody involved. I'm just that angle for me is like, all right, I want to move on now. But like, look, it's to the point where nobody can beat Mercedes. It's to the point nobody can beat Athena. So I think one-on-one would make a lot of sense actually. So I'm with that too.
If it's not Athena, it should be Toni Storm.
Yeah, that makes sense too.
It's which one do you want to kind of like sacrifice that like win streak of?
Yeah.
Because I think Mercedes probably beats both. Could be wrong on that, but
I think so too. Honestly, Marie's still working. She'll get there. We'll get her there.
You got that, Marie.
We'll be patient. We're patient guys. It's Valentine's Day. It's Day of Love, kids. I kind of forgot what day it was, if I'm being honest with you. Again, that's how romantic I am. But it's okay. So let's move on, and hopefully we'll get Marie back up and running here. So Jay White is awesome, and I messaged Jay, and shout out to Joe Higgins, by the way. But I messaged you guys privately and called out what Jay White called the Death Riders. We'll keep it clean here. But when he called him what he called him on Dynamite, I popped because it got past me, and then I said, "Oh God, no!" So anyway, I quite enjoyed that.
I missed it. Can you give me like what did he?
Oh
say
no, I can't. I'm not saying it.
What did it rhyme with?
I mean, to be fair, you could probably say it without it causing too much trouble.
Sure. Well, it's the Death Riders, except he didn't say the word death. He just used the first initial.
He used he called them the D Riders.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And
I got you.
He just kept going. Nobody cracked up. They just kept going. And I'm watching it.
No one even acknowledged it.
Okay.
Even Cope was just like, "Oh, okay."
Wow.
I watched the promo and he kept going. I was like, "Oh, wait a minute!" Oh, and then it hit me, but it took like 30 seconds or something.
Oh my God.
Jay's so great, dude. Jay can cut a promo and he just got that way about him, or he will cut you in half. Switchblade, no pun intended. He will cut you in half. And like, I remember back in the day, Ole Anderson cutting his promo where he's like talking about what the Horsemen are going to do, and he's out of breath. It's after a match, and he's like, "I'm not going to yell. I'm not going to holler. I'm just going to tell you we're the best in this company. We're the best in the world, and we're going to hurt you next week." And I'm like, best promo ever, because he doesn't have to do. Let me tell you something, brother. So that's what Jay White is as well. So,
he's great.
Yeah, Jay White and Cope. I'll never get over that.
No.
Can't cope.
He can't
cope with the cope.
Mighty.
I'm okay with it.
Are you okay with it? Man, Jay's the voice of reason today.
Right. So the thing is, like, obviously, in a wrestling standpoint, he's always been either Edge or Adam Copeland.
Yeah.
But when he's been like, I've got a T-shirt that I got from a Pro Wrestling Crate like years, like while he was still in WWE, and it was like Cope and Christian, Wild Ride or whatever. It was like a Bill and Ted T-shirt. And I was like, he's people obviously call him Cope because it's short for Copeland.
Mm.
It's just weird that he's not like brought it into the wrestling thing, and yeah, whatever. It doesn't bother me that much. It's the same as Mox, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Okay, well, if you're gonna do that,
yeah,
it is.
All right.
Same.
How dare you back me in a corner and make sense with your logic? So
I'm here with the logic.
He's here with the logic. If Joe were here, it'd be illogic. He'd admit to that too.
Joe would back me up.
He probably would. Yeah. He probably would.
Me, I don't know. It's Joe.
He'd probably shout. We never can tell with Joe. I miss Joe. Why didn't I invite Joe? Joe's got life. That's why he's off doing.
Joe's busy tonight. To be fair,
well, there you go. So, Marie, tell me why Jay White and Cope versus Death Riders is going to absolutely be freaking nuts. What do you think about this?
Well, anything involving Jon Moxley is always going to be nuts. And, I don't know. I'm not into it all that much. because I don't really understand what the end game is. Like, what is the purpose of the Death Riders? What are they trying to do? I don't know.
No one
And
knows.
I'm having trouble like being invested in it because I don't know what to be invested in. It's just really difficult. But just from a purely wrestling, no storyline type of thing, it's going to be a really fun match. So I don't want to, dog on it too much, because it's always chaos when Jon Moxley's involved. And Ray and I always like to try to have a little bet on when he's going to start bleeding on our podcast, the tailgate party. So that's always fun to do. So
usually around the 6-minute mark.
Or early.
Or really early. It's really early or mid-match, but it's not at the end.
I think the joke we had when he came out with a ball of water, it's like, oh, he just juiced. He took a drink and there he went. Yeah, he gigged off the water bottle. Ray, to everybody's point here, this one should be a crazy one. What do you think about this?
I'm looking forward to it. Love Jay White. I agree with you 100%. I'm waiting for that knife that he has in his back pocket to come out and stab Copeland in the back.
Yeah, he's going to. Yeah.
He's going to. It's so inevitable.
Yeah.
And it's going to be right when Edge either wins the belt or is about to win the belt.
Yeah.
And that's when you're going to see the real Switchblade again, because he's just a better heel.
Yeah.
I mean, Jay, what I'd like to see, but hey, I'm not booking it. I mean, Copeland's been around for a long time. It'd be great, like if the moment came that they kind of have a stare down, that he just gets him out and says, look, you and I both know you're going to stab me in the back. You're called Switchblade, for crying out loud. I've seen your work in Japan. Instead of doing that, let's just go ahead and have a match. You know what I mean? Would that take too much of the wind out of the sails? What do you think?
It wouldn't be as fun. I've been trying to take the fun away.
Yeah, you're taking the knife out of his pocket. He's got to throw it in the garbage now.
I'm just, as a veteran, why would Adam fall for it? I'm just saying.
So here's my logic on it. There's two roads they can go down here. Either Adam loses at Revolution, and then Jay White can dethrone Mox at Double or Nothing. Alternatively, Adam wins at Revolution and Christian Cage cashes in on Adam and wins the belt.
Yeah.
And that's what I want.
And when does Jay White get involved?
Well, here's the thing. Like, Jay White is in that lovely position where he's feeling like the guy who, like, in my opinion, Jay White should dethrone Mox. He's definitely the guy who should do it. I know they've kind of said Cope, they've said Darby. For me, it's Jay White.
100%.
But it's what does Tony Khan want to do? Which is the real question. I think Tony Khan's logic is, as I say, Cope, then Christian. Jay White has beef with Christian. He can be the guy to dethrone Christian. I think they're slow building Jay White to maybe take that belt later in the year. And that's the route they're going down. I don't like it. I'd rather, given the fact that every time that Jay White's been close to Blade Runner and Mox, he's been stopped. It's like, oh, that's like Mox's kryptonite. Like, if Jay White hits the Blade Runner on Mox is not getting up from it. That should be the logical thing. But sadly, AEW sometimes don't do the logical thing.
No.
It annoys me so much. But from looking at it through that lens, I think it's going to be Cope wins it, Christian cashes in, Jay White wins it at probably Double or Nothing, or maybe later on. And then I think they're going to try and get it away from Mox as quick as possible, because let's face it, Death Riders ain't working.
No, it's not working.
No.
It's not.
JP says Cope loses at Revolution. Eddie Kingston comes back at the pay-per-view.
Well,
Jeffrey is my favorite person right now.
My ideal scenario is that Eddie Kingston comes back and beats Mox for it. I think if Eddie had like a concrete return date,
Mm-hmm.
we'd absolutely get that. And Eddie is the most logical person to beat Mox that isn't Bryan Danielson.
Yes.
So again, we're going through like the sort of like level of logic. So we got Danielson's the most logical person to beat Mox. Then it's Eddie. Then it's Cope, who's probably going to do it. And then it's Jay White, who, the way they built it, should do it. Hangman's knocking around that Jay White territory as well. Let's be honest. But
what about poor Swerve?
I think Swerve is going to. So I think Swerve's got unfinished business with Hangman still.
Mm-hmm.
He's brought that up this week on Dynamite. Swerve is going to deal with Hangman. He's going to deal with Ricochet. He needs to get his distractions out the way with before he wins his title back.
Right.
And I can see a world where Hangman beats Mox for the title and Swerve just like shows up and is like, remember me? And then we get like a feud for the title, which we should have got months ago. But obviously they wanted to put the belt on Danielson, and that made a ton of sense as well. It's one of the things with AEW where it's like they're so open with like the possibilities. It's great, but also it's like, well, sometimes the best when they should be.
And Hangman's, for what it's worth, I'm going to use the word babyface. Doesn't matter. That company doesn't care about it, as we know. Hangman's face again, I guess. Give it 5 minutes. He won't be.
As of 5 minutes ago, yeah.
As of 5 minutes ago.
He just turned face 5 minutes ago.
And but it won't last because they change as the wind blows over there, and it's whatever. But look, we've always talked about this company was supposed to be different. This company was supposed to be an alternative. This company is supposed to be not doing what the other company was doing. But, we're talking again about the possibility of them putting it on a guy that's pushing 50. And it's like, yeah, but there's Darby, there's Orange, there's Will Hobbs, there's homegrown talent. You're still not going to. That's the challenge here, guys, is that they just, for whatever reason, like I can tell you for sure that the guys who was his first three champions? It was Jericho, Moxley, Omega, Hangman. Yeah. And he
the only one below 30, wasn't he?
Yeah. Well, he absolutely one of those guys to be his world champion, obviously. But, does Christian need to be AEW world champion in 2025? I love Christian, but
so I know that one thing that was mentioned was obviously like lineage, where it's like Danielson winning it off Swerve. That they did that because they wanted Bryan Danielson to be in the lineage of that belt.
Yeah.
So that's why I think Cope wins it, Christian wins it. It gets these like legends in the lineage of the belt, and it makes the belt feel more important. Christian Cage is Father of the Year. He absolutely my father. But yeah, it doesn't need to be a long reign. That's the most important point to make here.
Yeah.
It like look at Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe had it for what, like 2.5, 3 months?
Yeah.
And it felt like an important reign.
It did.
It didn't need to be a long reign, and it wasn't. I think that's what AEW wants to do with these guys, where they give it to them for a couple of months, and then it's like, oh yeah, they're part of the lineage now. Now, when you look at the people who've held this belt and you talk about how important this belt is, you've got Bryan Danielson, you've got Christian Cage, you've got John Moxley, you've got Chris Jericho, you've got Adam Copeland. And it doesn't need to be a long reign. It's people who've held that belt.
And one day, Adam Cole.
One day, Adam Cole. Well, I don't know when, because God,
one day
it'll
one
happen.
Day.
But
we're all getting older.
One day.
We're all
just
getting
go
older.
with it, Jay. Just go with it. One day.
Oh, right. I really want to, but his stock's so low right now. I really want to.
Yeah, it's nah. Well, to your point, the IWGP.
I was gonna say I'd sooner have Eddie Kingston before Adam Cole.
Oh,
As long as he gets it, I don't care when he gets it. Eddie can win it first. I just want Adam to get it at some point.
Eddie is who I think should dethrone Mox.
That's fine. But down the road, Cole's got to get it.
They don't do it
so much. I'm glad you agree with me. Thank you.
They don't do it now, but the IWGP World Championship, that was what they're calling that belt now. But the IWGP Championship, as you know, before every title defense on their big screen, they would go through every single champion they've had on the big screen. And Lesnar's picture was up there, and a multitude of Japanese wrestlers and American-born wrestlers. They were all up there for everybody to see. And you could just hear the crowd randomly pop and applaud. So you're right about the lineage. I don't know. There's just part of me. It's like, let's go, man. Orange. You could argue that Orange was never hotter than he was during that international championship run, and now he's.
That's fair.
When Orange challenged Mox, he should have dethroned Mox. He was the hottest he ever will be.
Yeah.
But to be fair, back to the Christian point, Tom, is that Christian is probably AEW's only true heel right now. He is truly despicable, and he's doing an amazing job. Some of his best work he's ever done.
That's
so
true.
Why wouldn't you want to put your hottest heel, your best heel, right up there in the main point of your show with the belt?
I don't know. For me, the answer is different than other people. I like him a lot. When I look at him, do I see this is somebody that's I'm going to say move the needle, but maybe that doesn't matter anymore. They've got their TV and the streaming deal, so who cares? But, just to be honest, they got what they needed. But
is Orange Cassidy going to do that?
He can't lift the needle.
But how old is Orange compared to Christian? Orange has got a lot more years on him than Christian does. Ahead of him.
Christian's what, 63, 64?
He's up there.
He's up there. Yeah, I agree with Tom. Like, what is he doing with Christian as champion? Unless it's just an interim thing.
I
he
think
can really help make somebody, though.
It'll be like a month or two tops.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Just to be able to say they had it. Yeah.
Again, the thing is, there's a couple of ways they can do it. Like I've said, obviously, Cope wins it. Christian cashes in on Cope. Darby could win it, and then Christian cashes in on Darby, and then Cope beats Christian, and then whoever beats Cope. I think it's going to be a lot, not so much like hot shot, but like it could be some shorter reigns, and then probably whoever gets out the end of those shorter reigns will hold it for a while.
Yeah, that's a good point. See, with AEW, they've always been having, besides there's been one or two exceptions, like with Samoa Joe, but the majority of the champions have had the title for a long period of time. So we're automatically assumed that every champion is going to have the title for 6 months, and that doesn't necessarily have to be the case.
I think we get spoiled on the idea of long reigns because I don't know. Yeah, well, too long, 6 years and counting, I guess, for that guy, or whatever it was, however many years he had. I think anything could be ever done, but when you look back at a title and say this title had X number of champions in 5 years, you're like, good Lord, dude, there's a lot of friggin' people. But it's the way a lot of pro wrestling, in my opinion, is like social media. It's like the attention span is just here and gone. And people, they love you today, hate you tomorrow. So they got to go with the hot hand and go with whatever it is they want to push today, and then tomorrow they're moving on to the next thing. But
you definitely have to be in the happy medium. You can't treat it like the Charlotte and Sasha Banks with the Raw Women's Championship back in 2015 or whenever it was, where they were playing hot potato every Monday night. Don't do that. But a 2-month reign is not going to hurt anything.
Yeah. Timothy says, I told Ray and Majestic on their show Wednesday that it's getting close between Danny Garcia versus Adam Cole for the TNT title.
Okay, there you go. He can win that too.
Nothing wrong with that TNT championship.
Thank you, Tim.
the idea of a workhorse title in a company, dude, it's absolutely bragging rights. I mean, the world title, of course, is the goal for any wrestler. It should be, and if you're not, why are you in the business? But a workhorse title in a company, that's something that guys take serious, and women take very seriously. Like, it's a big deal to be called the workhorse champion. Like, you know, you wear that like a badge of honor. That title can open the show or end the show or be in the middle of the card and still get the best match of the night. So it's important. While Jay's getting himself together, let's move on to the next match. We've already talked about it here quite a bit. Let's talk about Kazuchika Okada. By the way, supposedly Okada pronounces his name Kazuchika Okada, is how the man himself pronounces it. But I'm always accustomed to saying Kazuchika, but apparently it's Kazuchika. I don't know. So the great Rainmaker, anyway, versus Buddy Matthews for the Continental Championship. I mean, Ray, it seems like if you were going to put a belt on a man, I don't know, God, I say that, but you're asking me to say that Buddy Matthews needs to pin Okada.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's
How
tough.
do you pin the Rainmaker?
It's tough. I mean,
But are you going to have two Australians lose in their hometown on the same night?
Yeah.
That's brutal.
Yeah. I mean,
one of them's got to get over. If it's not Phil and the Rat, then it's got to be Buddy.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how I feel about this one, but
I wish you're doing a Vince McMahon booking where you lose in your hometown.
Oh, you lose in your hometown. You get beat up in front of your parents and your wife and your kid. It's embarrassing.
Your kid's crying. Your wife's in tears.
They tar and feather you. Get color.
Tar and feather. Push the wife down the flight of stairs.
Yeah.
Have you guys talked about Tony Storm and Mariah May yet?
No, not at length.
Okay.
I figure that's going to main event the show. Isn't that what we think?
It should.
That's the main event.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know why it wouldn't. CJ says laptop is being a pain. I'm going to tell you right now.
My laptop was being a pain. I had to come to my phone.
Never again on Valentine's Day. This is a sign, man.
Yeah.
Cupid's somewhere having a laugh right now, shooting arrows up into our tech. Talking about, this ain't about love. It's how love to mess stuff up. Yeah, anyway. Okada and Matthews is going to be freaking great. I can't wait for it. I think this is going to absolutely be a banger, as the kids say. I think it's going to be freaking awesome. Sugar Shane says Okada beats Buddy Matthews with help from the returning Young Bucks. Yeah, maybe. I mean, it's in 2025. They've got dates open again. I don't know. That's tough for me too, man. I mean, I think they'll bring the Bucks back as face at some point, which I don't think
is awful.
He's earned that, but that's me talking. Well, look, Phil and I have talked. Shout out to Phil Lindsay. We talked a lot on and off mic about the Bucks and about how respectfully they are, maybe, phoned it in 2024, didn't maybe give us their best work, could have done more, but didn't. And it's like, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that whole thing with Tony Khan and the neck brace at the NFL draft, they could have made that into something. And they just dropped the ball with that altogether.
Yeah.
It was sad.
I agree. Fernando says, I disagree with everyone winning in their hometown as Ric Flair undefeated in Charlotte. No one's arguing, at least I'm not, that you can't lose in your hometown. What the joke was that WWE would go out of their way to spotlight he or she's in their hometown tonight. And then it felt like intentionally embarrassing the guy.
Yes. That's the difference.
It's not just losing in your hometown. Now you got to get embarrassed. They got to put this, like Tom said, they got to put the spotlight and they got to embellish it and make it way worse than just losing a match.
And if it's for the sake of the storyline and it's going to go somewhere better later, but that's a bunch of ifs. Like, we know that guy booked for weird reasons, and we don't have to talk about him because I hate talking about that guy at this point. Like, I don't, everybody gets their day and to answer for things, but look,
like in court.
I ain't gonna talk anymore about it. I got nothing good to say about that dude. So,
in a perfect world, we would want Buddy Matthews to win, of course. But they have already done this groundwork of working towards Kenny Omega versus Okada.
Yeah.
At All In. I kind of want Okada to keep that title for that match So I wouldn't want him to lose it yet. So, but you know, I don't know. I wouldn't be upset. Let's put it that way, because no matter what, Kenny Omega versus Okada is always going to be a huge deal. But it would up it a notch if Okada had the title. But you know what? It's fine either way.
You're right, but I'm with you. I think he should keep it. Matthews win to promote the new team without Black, the Hounds of Hell is what they're calling it. Yeah, I'm with you, Maria. I think he should hang on to the titles. So Omega, but I think we're going to get Omega versus Ospreay first at some point. But I could be wrong. Hopefully Jay will be back with us soon, because we didn't get his thoughts here on Okada and Buddy Matthews. But I know that, Ray, you got a hard out in about 20 minutes.
Yeah, 20 minutes.
So let's talk about Will Ospreay and Kenny Omega versus the Dawn Callis family of Kyle Fletcher and Konosuke Takeshita. So another banger. This thing should be off the charts. If you had a friend that didn't care about pro wrestling, this is probably a match I'd have them watch, because there's so much talent in this match. And it'd be like, look, if you don't like pro wrestling, just give this match a chance, because, God, these guys are so good. They're so good. And Fletcher has gotten exponentially better over the past 2 years. It's crazy. Takeshita is absolutely, if you watched any of his stuff in Japan, he is on another level. And I hate that catchphrase, but man, it's so true. He was the highlight of the G1 last year. I mean, obvious he was the highlight last year. He's so freaking good. But Marie, this is going to be awesome. We know Ospreay and Omega are not going to get along forever, and it's going to go south.
That's
what do
okay.
you think about this? It is okay. Yeah,
I love it, because it wouldn't be fun if there was no animosity in pro wrestling. We can't all be buddy all the time. Anyway, my goodness, Kyle Fletcher. If anyone deserves the title breakout star of 2024, it would be Kyle Fletcher. I didn't know too much about him when he first came in, and he had this like bro beach blonde hair that looked straight out of, the surf or something. I don't know. He looked like a bro dude to me, and I was just like, okay, whatever. But he has just come into his own and really surprised me with his body of work, and he's awesome. I love him. And Will Ospreay, I like him too. And I see Kenny Omega and Will Ospreay winning this match. And but the Don Callis family, Takeshita and Fletcher, they're gonna put up a fight, and it's gonna be great, and I can't wait.
Well, look, when he was with Mark Davis and Aussie Open in New Japan, they were so good. It was so much fun watching them as a tag team. Like, big guys get over in Japan really well. So, when Mark Davis came in. Oof.
By the way, when they announced that Mark Davis was now a member of the Don Callis family and then had him straight up lose, I was not a fan of that. I thought that was the wrong move.
What did Callis say? Somehow he's got his contract, because you see them cut promos and Davis is just in the background like, I don't want to be here. I don't like this. This ain't for me. But they're making him do it or something. I don't know.
It was horrible.
Yeah, it's half-hearted in my opinion. It's half something else too. I'm not feeling it. Not feeling it. So, Jay, we skipped over Okada and Matthews.
Gosh.
I begged the guys to let us wait, and they said, we don't care nothing about no Jay. Just keep going. I said, fine. All right. So
I'll just say
lies.
It could be match of the year.
It could be match of the year.
I am more excited about that match than I am about most other matches in wrestling right now.
I think it's going to be fantastic. We were saying that we were right there with you.
There's one more we'll probably talk about in a moment.
I'm sure.
That's definitely up there.
Do you have Ospreay and Omega beating the Dawn Callis family, Jay?
No, I think the Don Callis family.
Okay.
They need to make it compelling for Takeshita and Omega and Ospreay and Fletcher to wrestle again, and having the Don Callis family win that match certainly does that.
That's a good point. That's a good point.
Because I think we're gonna get like those two singles matches at Revolution. Ospreay and Fletcher are 1-1. Takeshita is not, as far as I'm aware, not lost to Omega at all. Why would you have him lose to Omega before the singles match?
That makes a lot of sense because right now, besides them two, the Don Callis family does not look all that great. We have Mark Davis losing his first match in. We have Brian Cage and Lance Archer losing every single match that they're ever in, ever. And they're about to be beaten into oblivion by the Hurt Syndicate. And then if they lose that match, it's over for Don Callis and his little family, and they will never recover. So I will say yes to that.
Let's see what goes on with Trent when he finally comes back. But I think let's be honest, that the Don Callis family, it's all about Takeshita and Fletcher, isn't it? They're the two stars.
It is.
Archer and Cage are just there to give them something to do, and also they look like badasses even if they lose.
And I hate to say it, but yeah, it feels like they just didn't have anything for them to do, so they just put them in there. That'd be tag team booking 101. You don't have
and they
anything
look
to do,
so bored.
tag team.
They look bored.
They're one of those like heel tag teams that can just have a match with the champions, lose, and then they'll show up against someone else and lose, and it is fine. It is what it is. That's the role they've got. I mean, Murder Machine versus Hertz, and it's going to be fun, isn't it? Little hoss fight.
Yeah, I'm up for that. The crowd chanting.
I'll enjoy it. I love
beef.
the Hertz Syndicate.
So, Ray, I see you sitting up there looking, and I know what you're thinking. That Ospreay and Omega may have the same ending that Mox and Jay White are going to have. Not Mox, but Jay White and Cope are going to have. Is this thing going to end with one guy, or are they just going to still remain baby faces and be okay with each other later?
You're reading my mind.
Yeah.
There were two knives. One Jay's has in his pocket. The other one Kenny Omega has. He's about to blast Ospreay.
You would see Kenny stabbing Ospreay in the back.
Yeah,
really?
Ospreay already stabbed Omega. Ospreay was already a heel for a long time. He's a white hot face right now. You can't have Ospreay turn heel now. I think it's just not meant to be.
You can't turn Kenny Omega right now either.
I think with Kenny coming back from like what he was out with, there's no way you can turn him heel.
But you can't turn Ospreay heel.
You don't have to have a heel or a baby face in that match. I think people are just going to enjoy it for what it is.
But
yeah,
if you're asking me who's going to win this match, definitely going Don Callis family, because it's you can win any way, right? It's anything goes. So last time I checked, 5 versus 2, some way somehow those guys are going to interfere some way somehow and cost them. I
mean, this might just be an English thing, but for me, I'd say that Ospreay is the more dislikable than Kenny. But that's a whole English thing for me, because he's from South and I'm North, and there's the whole North-South divide. But either way, I think at this point, Kenny and Ospreay are both too over as baby faces to do anything like that. I think they could do a babyface versus babyface match, and there wouldn't be any issues with it.
I will say, Kyle, since he cut his hair, he did a reverse Samson. He got bigger and better. I don't know what happened.
Oh, Kyle Fletcher's a monster.
I think the hair was making him weak and small. And I think when he shaved it, he became big and strong. He gained like 15, 20 pounds of muscle. He looks bigger. If you look at his old matches when Maurice looked like a surfer, he was thinner. He didn't have any charisma to him. All of a sudden, man, wherever he went to, get his hair cut, Lemon Tree or Clipper Kings, they hooked him up because he looks like a different person. I'm like, wow.
He went to Great Cuts. That's what
he went Super Cuts.
Super Cuts.
Now it's Super Power Cuts.
Super Power Cuts. Jeez.
Super Power Cuts.
They got
Now, look how big Kyle is. Kyle's the man.
Kyle's
Huge
awesome.
Fletcher fan.
He's great.
Fantastic.
I hope he wins actual like proper AEW singles belt this year.
Yeah.
There.
I know. Obviously, he had like the ROH TVT title, but that doesn't really count, does it?
No.
I hope he wins like either the TNT title or the international title.
Yeah.
He's awesome. He's so good.
He is. Well, look, we keep saying international. Didn't they? Is it international? It is still international, isn't it?
It's the one Takeshi is like murdering people for.
That's right. Yeah. I was recalling it was.
One's international, one's Continental Classic champion.
It was
Yeah,
all
Continental.
Atlantic.
That's Okada.
Yeah.
Didn't they call it All Atlantic Champion at one point?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they
That
did.
was the introductory title of the belt. Yeah. Well, look, we got one match left, kids. It's the main event. Mariah May versus Toni Storm. Luther's back. I think Luther's going to stab Tony in the back. Just my opinion.
A lot of backstabbing here. A lot of knives in Australia.
Yeah.
It's the day of love. It's the day of loving to stab people in the back. I don't know.
I mean, if you want me to go into like the UK's relationship with Australia, it was like a prison colony. So yeah, there'll probably be a lot of knives there.
Wow, that got deep, didn't it?
That's a take.
I'm telling you.
That's where we sent the prisoners to.
I'm here for it. That's all I'm saying.
Well, and you have to be ruthless to deal with all of those really dangerous animals that they have just roaming into their house on a daily basis.
Absolutely. You can't deal with a funnel web spider without stabbing the shit out of it. So sorry, I swore.
Language.
But yeah. It's the only way to deal with a funnel web spider. I apologize.
Sure.
But yeah, I think this might possibly be the match of the night.
Got a lot to live up to.
I don't see a Luther turn. I
don't see that either.
I see that Mariah wins by some kind of shenanigans. And I think as well, like that we're at the point with the Tony and Mariah thing where it could be one of the best storylines of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't end it here.
No, you can't end it. The story's fantastic.
I also think there's a lovely moment where Tony wins the belt in Australia, but I think also that Mariah probably has a lot of legs in this title reign, and she should probably keep hold of it.
So you have 3 people in Australia lose. That's awful. You gotta have one hometown hero win. No, am I crazy?
I'd say if you have one of the Australians win, it's Buddy.
Okay, but one of them, I just feel like to keep the fans happy, one of them's got to get over.
Oh yeah. Tony's the most likely one.
Yeah,
I'm more saying what I think should happen than what I think will. But then also you could have Kyle Fletcher winning, and then you don't have them winning any belts, but you've got an Australian winning.
There you go. I didn't think of that one. Good point.
Even if Jay White like picks up the win, he's a Kiwi. He's not Australian, but he's from New Zealand. It's that neck of the woods.
Yeah, it's close enough.
Yeah. It's like when Drew McIntyre wins in the UK.
Exactly.
Usually he wins in England, and we don't care about Scotland. We're England.
I like how Jay's throwing shade into these other nations. That's really wonderful.
I'm just causing international incidents.
I'm just saying, international chaos here on Tom Clark's Main Event. So, well, kids, that's the matches. There's nothing else at this moment. This will be on, prime time, as they say, and you ain't got to pay for it. As long as you got access to some kind of streamer here, you can watch it. We're gonna watch it. The streaming on Max too, I assume. Yes, not just TBS.
Oh yeah.
So it's on TBS and Max.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
So wonderful. That Max pays for itself, man. Especially with the pay-per-views from this company, it pays for itself.
Yeah.
And it's still very affordable in the States. So
Thriller
far.
in the UK.
So far.
The Triller, yeah.
Tom, are eggs still a quarter by you?
Oh, they're down to 19 cents now.
Oh, great. Okay. Fantastic.
He told us, didn't he? And he did it.
Yeah, he did it. They did it.
That's all I'll do for that. But
Chat are saying it's on TNT, not TBS.
What's that?
Chat are saying it's on TNT, not TBS.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't have any of these channels over in my Savage Island.
Your Savage Island that's hating all the other islands around it. Jeez.
we have Triller. Oh, don't get me started on Scotland, Ray.
Oh.
We'll be here all night.
All night. Well, kids, there you have it. There's
in the podcast with me.
There's an hour of which 10 minutes were all tech issues by everybody here except like Ray.
Yep.
So you're welcome.
Thank you.
And look, sorry we didn't get to a lot of comments here today, kids. A lot of people are out celebrating Valentine's Day because it's important. Anyway, that's all I got for you.
Yeah.
I don't care. I don't care if no one pops over that. It's fine. It's my joke. I'm going to use it. So, folks, this is what I got for you. Hope you guys enjoyed the show tomorrow. Everybody, please check it out. Thanks for watching today. Before we get out of here, Jay, let's start with you. Where can people find you on the internets?
I am part of the Untitled Wrestling Podcast. We haven't put anything out for a couple of weeks, but we are going to be recording quite a lot in the next couple of weeks. Just life got in the way, so we weren't able to do that. I'm also part of Two Nations Under Ted with you, Tom. We are going to be starting another podcast soon, but that's still in the planning phase. But if you like Ted Lasso and you've watched the show or you're planning on watching the show, watch it and listen to us talk about it because it's very fun. That's pretty much everything.
I agree with everything Jay said, by the way. So, Marie, let's throw it to you.
All right. I'm on a podcast called Peaches and Powerbombs, and we're on either on Tuesdays or Thursdays, somewhere around 8 p.m. Eastern. I'm on another show as well, but I will let my co-host tell you all about that.
We have a little funny show on Wednesdays called the Tailgate Party, which is a AEW preview. Lots of jokes. We take turns. One of us is usually hot with the jokes. Last week was Marie. I have to, find my writer and get my jokes in so I could come back next week. But it's every Wednesday, 4:30.
Well, there you have it, kids. Guys, don't go anywhere. I appreciate you very much. And thanks again, as always, for joining. All right. And there we go, folks. And look, you guys know where I'm at. Tom Clark's Main Event, Tom Clark's 6M Podcast, and Two Nations Under Ted, a Ted Lasso podcast. We didn't get to do this at any point during the show, but since there's still some folks hanging around, and I know how you guys love to watch ads, do me a favor and please check this out.
Boink Studios is the home of Tom Clark's Main Event, Tom Clark's 6M Podcast, and Two Nations Under Ted, a Ted Lasso podcast. Visit the site today for links to every podcast platform, social media, special announcements, and a lot more. Check out the site and bookmark today, boinkstudios.com.
There you go, kids. There's your one and only ad for the day. Thanks again for tuning in, folks. I'm going to go start my weekend. I'm going to work all weekend, but it's okay. Man, baby needs a new pair of shoes. What can I tell you? So got to do what you got to do. Folks, thanks so much for tuning in. We appreciate you very much. Episode 364 in the books. Stay tuned for a lot more coming your way. We should be here a week from today. If anything were to come up, we will absolutely let you know, but everything should be kosher and good to go in the meantime. Kids, do me a favor. Have a great Valentine's Day. Go enjoy it, because why not? Have a great weekend. Enjoy some AEW Grand Slam Australia tomorrow. We hope you appreciate it. Thanks as much as always to my guests for tuning in, for joining us here today, and for you good folks at home for tuning in. Again, we very much appreciate it. Kids, have a good one. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you in a week. Take care, kids. See you soon.